year. So with that being said, welcome council, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Vice Mayor, and our citizens. Ms. Berner, if you would call roll, please.
Yep. Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilman Grimm.
I'm here.
Councilman Rodwald. You're muted, Dan.
Here.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Here.
Councilman Cobb.
Here.
Councilwoman Eggleston. Vice Mayor Cook.
Here.
7 members present.
All right, thank you very much. And moving on to the invocation by Councilman Ron Cobb.
Dear Heavenly Father, give us the strength to do what's right for the citizens. Watch over our fire and EMS, our deputy sheriffs, our military, over abroad and here. Help us get through this pandemic, and the next one is coming. Let's hope it stops where it's at. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Cobb, and to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the
and the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
For all.
Good job. Thank you, everyone. All right. And let's see here. Moving along to, let's see, action on the regular scheduled work session minutes for 12/21/2020.
Go.
So moved.
Second.
I think I had Mr. Grimm and Mr. Vice Mayor as a second.
Okay.
And any discussion, council, before we vote? All right. When you're ready, Ms. Berner.
All right. Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
yes,
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Those minutes are accepted 7-0.
Thank you very much. And then moving on to accept the minutes for the regular scheduled council meeting minutes for December 21st, 2020.
So moved.
Move.
second,
Motion by Mr. Cobb, a second by Ms. Nowakowski, I believe.
Okay.
And any discussion on those minutes, council? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
yes,
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Those minutes are also accepted 7-0.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Berner. And then moving on to communications done tonight, drop down to the city manager's report. Mr. Bridge, sir, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public. This is City Manager Report for January 4th, 2021. Please note that our department reports will actually be taken at our next council meeting, which is Tuesday, January 19th. So under informational items, we have the Clark County Combined Health District COVID-19 update. I do attach that every meeting, so that is attached to this meeting as well. We also have a COVID-19 update from Clark County Emergency Management, so please take your time to look over that one as well. Moving down on the city manager report, we have board appointments. Council will vote via motion at the 1/19/2021 regular session. I'm going to be working on those this week and next week. Just please note that the Volunteer Firefighter Dependent Fund Board, they have delayed their own renewals. They have not had the staff to get the paperwork out to the individual municipalities. So as soon as they send us that, we'll put that in front of council as well. CARES Act, which is a large pot of money we got from the federal government. We use it or lose it money. We have expended all the money that they had given to the city. We do have our second report of spending that is due this Wednesday. So that's taken up some of my time today. We'll take up most of my time tomorrow. So that's a big report we got to get in. They did extend the deadline to expend all funds until this time next year, which is great for those people who did not rush to get all those expended. But unless we get another pot of money, we've already went through the pot that we got. If we do get another pot, clearly we will update city council with that. Our 2021 appropriations that will be introduced tonight. It's Ordinance 2021-01. So the legal ad will appear in the Springfield News Sun tomorrow, and the public hearing to approve that would be Tuesday, January 19th during the regular session. Let me get my little notes here. I am happy to report that the city did receive a third BWC rebate. The amount was around $138,000. So I'm going to have some more discussion topics on that at probably the first or second meeting in February. I do want to put most of that back into for appropriations. So we'll have to do some supplementals because it's just right now in our bank. It's not in our appropriations. So I do want to present something to council after I have a further discussion with our finance director on that for approval. So more information to come on that, but we have got a significant amount of BWC rebates this year, thanks to the state of Ohio. 101 South Main Street, which is our downtown building, that is nearly done. I would like to start scheduling tours for council members to come through. I would like to schedule those for the week of January 11th. I do believe that's next week. We can go into the week after that should council need more availability options. There's still a few things that we do need to complete. I do have them listed on my city manager report, but just so the public knows, we do have to get a second internet connection. So we're separate from the police. That has already been ordered. We ordered new ceiling tiles. The installation of the ceiling tiles will be done in-house. Those will be, they are ordered and they will be delivered this Friday. We have office furniture that has already been paid for, but we're holding off on that delivery till we get some other things done in the building, but it is already purchased. A second coating of paint on the walls. The first coating we had come through, seeped through, and it looked like a greenish tint. So we got a hold of the company and they're going to come back out and repaint, do a second coat. That's scheduled for tomorrow and Wednesday. And then we have the installation of the police department technology and the city technology. So those are kind of all behind the scenes things that need to be done with the exception of the office furniture. So council still can go down here and see what we've done so far, which is the hardwood floors and all that good stuff. It looks like a very professional building. So if you guys want to get some dates down or you guys want to give me a few for the week of the 11th, that would be greatly appreciated if anyone has the availability. I'm going to pull my calendar up too, so just bear with me. Now, is this something council wants to do in groups of 2?
I'm available anytime that week in the early afternoon. And as far as it doesn't matter if I go with a group of somebody or whatever works best for everybody else.
Okay, we got to
I'm
keep
available.
Yeah, below 3, I think is the cutoff. So yeah, that Monday 11th, I'm completely open. Who has availability on the 11th? And Mr. Roadwall, is this something you need me to stay in the evening for to get you through the workday and be more than happy
Yeah,
to for you?
I wouldn't say the evening. I can later in the afternoon would be good. 2:30, 3 o'clock.
What time did you say?
Between 2:30, 3 will be fine.
3 o'clock, okay, on
Yeah.
the 11th?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Can anyone else join me and Mr. Roadwall at that tour time on the 11th?
I can.
Okay. So Dan and Mike, the 11th at 3 o'clock. Does anyone have any availability on the 11th at maybe 2 o'clock?
Linda? That's fine.
Peggy and Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any availability for 1 o'clock on the 11th?
Ron, when do you want to go?
I won't, that's fine. 1 o'clock will be all right with me.
On the 11th?
Yeah.
So we've got, I think we need Mr. Grimm still 246. We can get 3 in because that's not a quorum, right?
I won't be
That's
available.
not a quorum.
On the 11th,
Why
you're
don't-
not available, sir?
I have a
Yeah,
meeting
3.
1 o'clock on the 11th, and I have no idea how long it's going to take. It may take a while.
Okay, no worries. So let's look.
Tuesday would be better.
Okay, I got in the morning. Is an afternoon appointment okay with you on the 12th?
Around 1 or 2, yeah.
How about 2?
2.
2? Okay, so on the 11th at 1 p.m. we got Councilman Cobb and Vice Mayor Cook. The 11th at 2 o'clock we have Councilwoman Eggleston and Councilwoman Nowakowski. On the 11th at 3 o'clock, we have Councilman Rodwald with Mayor Lowry. And on the 12th, it's 2 o'clock with Mr. Grimm and myself.
Yep.
All right. And I will summarize all that and put it out in an email so you guys can just print it off so you can have it. Fantastic. We're excited to see for you guys to see that. Moving down to the city manager report, we have to resume discussions on 1/19/2021. That is Mayor's Court, pool feasibility study, and also headshot for new webpage. City manager will bring some dates for photos. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Andy Grimm this week and see what dates he can come up with and then get some pricing down from him. And then once we have those dates at the next meeting, we'll present those to council. I'll have a few just so we can have multiple to choose from, if that's okay with council. Yep. Awesome. And then council topics at the 12/21 meeting. There are some dates over here. I thought the 18th was a Tuesday. I did go back and change it on the rest of the report. I did miss this section. So anything in this section referring to 1/18/2021 is actually going to be 1/19/2021. Prior pool reports, Colleen's got, still got to finish closing out the year. That should be done this week. So we're going to pull those pool reports and have them as part of the city manager report at the next meeting. We also had a discussion about salvage rights on Adams Tower. Mr. Kiko has begun the process to reach out to the company. We don't have a definite answer yet, so we're going to give him a little bit more time. Hopefully we'll have some information back at the next council meeting as well. And also the downtown center line painting, we're going to update council on the next meeting as well with that particular project. I do believe that's all I have for my city manager report. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
All right, council, any questions for Mr. Bridge?
No.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hold on. Was it Mr. Cobb has your hand up?
Yeah, I got my hand up. Are you still talking about taking the lettering off the tower or?
Just any kind of salvage rights. We got to figure out what the limitations are if they'll let us have some. Howie's convinced they'll give us something maybe a little to cut off. I don't know about something bigger, but it's ultimately up to that company because that's how they get repaid. Since we don't pay a lot to have it down, they'll go and scrap that. So I'm sure it's a decision that has to be done at a higher level with the company. So this past 2 weeks, a lot of people take off. We just haven't got the information back yet. We're comfortable with giving the council.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have something else to add, Mr. Bridge?
I did. I was in the office today speaking with Angela. We're getting a lot of calls about February for the shelter house. I think we said we're going to discuss that at the second meeting of each month. I would like to make that actually the first meeting of each month. I would like to go ahead and close that for the month of February, but I would need a council motion to accept that.
Motion closing for February.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cobb, second by Mr. Rodwald to close the shelter house for the month of February.
Who was the first on that? I'm sorry.
Mr. Cobb.
Cobb and then Mr. Rodwald.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this before we call for a vote? All right, Ms. Berner, whenever you're ready, please.
All right. Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
No.
Councilman Rodwald.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 6-1.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berner. And back to you, Mr. Did you have anything else, Mr. Bridge?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, moving on. Comments from members of the public. Back to you for a moment.
Let me refresh my iPad here. I do not have anything.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, comments from committee reports then tonight. We'll drop down the resolutions, one for intro, one with action this evening. So, Ms. Berner.
All right, we have resolution 2021-01R, introduction, public hearing and action tonight. A resolution revising the New Carlisle City Council Rules of Council.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Cobb and second by Mr. Vice Mayor. Any
Okay.
any discussion on this one? Go ahead, Mr. Bridge. I'm sorry. I actually cut in front of you.
Oh, no worries at all. So purpose of this resolution, this is a yearly housekeeping that we do every year. Council has a set of rules that they establish amongst themselves to operate in addition to the requirements of the state of Ohio and the charter of the municipality of the city of New Carlisle. And that is in front of them tonight, is to approve the rules for 2021.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion, council? All right. When you're ready, Ms. Berner, if you would, please.
All right, Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Motion accepted 7-0. Moving on to our ordinances, we have ordinance 2020-47, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance amending chapter 240 Citizens Participation Plan and chapter 246 Employees Generally of the Codified Ordinances of the City of New Carlisle for the purpose of adopting non-discrimination provisions for city employees of the City of New Carlisle.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Eggleston, and I think Mr. Rodwell was your
Okay.
second. It was a tie.
We got Eggleston and Roadwald, sorry.
Yes, Ms. Eggleston and Mr. Rodwell the second.
Okay, and an explanation of this ordinance. This is to amend certain section of the City of New Carlisle Codified Ordinances detailing only with employees of the city to offer non-discrimination provisions.
All right. Any discussion? Mr. Cobb.
You know, there's federal laws that protect the same thing what we're writing up. I don't see why we need to put something out like that. I mean, you know, the laws are there.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cobb. Ms. Eggleston.
From what I have read in my research, the federal law does not cover sexual orientation.
All right. And anyone else before we call for a vote? Mr. Grimm.
I would raise concerns over the same issues I raised the last time this came up over the sexual stuff. And the last paragraph is a blatant infringement on city employees' right to speak freely.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Anyone else? Ms. Nowakowski.
Rights to speak freely are infringed on routinely. You cannot go into a movie house and yell fire. It's an incitement to riot, and
That would fall under inducement to panic, which is illegal. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would think yelling fire in a crowded movie theater is free speech. Free speech
Well,
is
the standard example that's used in freedom of speech.
freedom of speech is there for unpopular speech. So people can speak their minds freely on unpopular topics.
Well,
Hang on, Mr. Rodwell, just a second. Are you good, Ms. Nowakowski?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Rodwell.
well, just because it's free speech doesn't mean there shouldn't be consequences for that. Every employer, if you go online and bash that employer, you risk the chance of being fired. If you try to bully one of your employees, you risk a chance of being fired on the internet. So I mean, I think people throw free speech in there because it's a convenience. There's always consequences to your actions, whether you want to claim it's free speech or an infringement on what other right you may have under the Constitution, there's consequences. And all this is saying that if you violate or discriminate as a city employee, there's going to be consequences. So.
Thank you, Mr. Rodwell. Mr. Grimm.
There's a big difference between private companies and a governmental subdivision. We are a governmental subdivision. We are not allowed to tell city employees what they can and cannot say. If Mr. Bridge were to go on Facebook and say, I think Dale's an idiot, there's nothing I can do about it. It's his opinion. If I feel insulted or harassed, that's my problem. But if Mr. Bridge were to go on Facebook and say, I think Dale's an idiot and I'm going to burn his house down, then that comes under threats, and that is illegal. But just someone expressing their thoughts, whether popular or unpopular, like I said before, we cannot tell them they cannot do that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Ms. Eggleston, we'll let you have one word.
That's not necessarily true. You have active military that they are not allowed to badmouth the president, period.
Because they have taken an oath to support and obey him.
Oh, they took an oath to support
and
the
defend the
country.
Constitution of the United States, not
the
a
president.
All right.
The military members take an oath to support and obey the commander-in-chief.
Mr. Bridge, I'll let you have the final word, and I think we're going to go for the vote on this.
Okay, I think you guys are having great discussion, but I said this when it was introduced. I just wanted to reiterate the fact that this particular section has been in our codes prior to this being introduced. The only thing we're doing is adding to it. That is it. So it's always been that they've not been able to go and employees must never use the internet, electronic city mail, or online services to disseminate offensive, harassing, vulgar, obscene, or threatening statements, including disparagement of others based on their race, national origin, sex, age, marital status, pregnancy, disability. That's always been in there. We're just adding to that to make it more encompassing. And what we're adding to it is the sexual orientation, the sexual preference, and stuff like that. That's what you guys are adding to it. The clause about not using the email has already been there. That's been on the books prior to this even being introduced. So again, we're just adding to something that's already been there. I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge. I do remember you bringing that up. But thank you for doing it one more time. Mr. Cobb.
When this doesn't concern council. Council is elected officials. As far as I'm concerned, if this is what the city manager wants, this falls under the, I got to think of the word now. The city manager's everyday operation, which council should have no say in this.
Go ahead, Mr. Bridge.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree on that. This is policy. Council's in charge of setting policy.
All right. I would like to call for the vote now, please.
Second.
Okay. So my first was Eggleston. My second was Rodwald. All right. Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
No.
Councilman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
No.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
No.
Councilman Rodwald.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-3.
Thank you very much, Ms. Berner.
All right, moving on, we have ordinance 2020-48, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the Clark County Sheriff's Office for fire and EMS dispatching services.
So moved.
Second.
We'll say Ms. Nowakowski is a first and Mr. Grimm with the second.
Okay.
Mr. Bridge?
Yep, thank you. Explanation of this ordinance. This is for another annual housekeeping ordinance that we do. And this is for our fire and EMS dispatching services. We did see a little bit of an increase this year. That is due to the county doing it all under one roof. I do believe it was around a $7,000 increase. Sorry, I had to look for that.
Thank you, sir. Council, any questions or comments? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner, if you'd call the vote, please.
All right. Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 7-0. Moving on to our next one is a read only this evening, ordinance 2021-01, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on January 19th, 2021. An ordinance to establish appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of New Carlisle, state of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. You want me to go on to other business?
Yes, please, if you would not mind.
All right, other business. The city offices will be closed on Monday, January 18th, 2021 for Martin Luther King Day. And then we are now to additional city business, open discussion for city-related matters.
All right, thank you very much. Council, any other topics that you would like to go over? I had one, well, kind of Mr. Bridge and Mr. Vice Mayor would probably know a little bit more about what I'm bringing up. And some of the council members have seen it probably in the past few meetings that we've had where we've tweaked a little bit about council members addressing the administrators directly. And that's how it's always been from years past. I think we're going to see, maybe just some minor changes, I guess, maybe in future council meetings. I didn't know how Mr. Vice Mayor or Mr. Bridge, how you wanted to maybe go over those with the group as a whole, maybe put it on the agenda for another meeting down the road, just so everybody's on the same page, or we can discuss it in a work session sometime. I just want you guys
from the administrative side of things, I will be the only person showing up for meetings, even the second meeting of the month. If Colleen or Howie or Derek has to show up for a meeting per basis, they will be invited. But council reports will all come to me, and I'll give probably summarize it up a little bit better as far as having it one report. What I need to figure out is how I'm going to compile all that, because the city manager's report is going to look a little different than probably what it has been. But basically, I will be there to give the report on their behalf.
All right. Mr. Grimm.
Does that mean we will not be able to ask questions of the city administrators?
They will all go through me as described in your city charter. That is the point of the strong mayor, strong manager form of government that you guys have. There is no need for administrative heads to be here when they can just submit their report through me, and I can act on behalf of them.
All right.
Mr. Rodwell.
And then would you just, if we have questions, Mr. Bridge, would you just follow up on the next meeting, or?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm able to answer most of the answers.
Yeah.
We just let the other staff answer because they're there.
Yes.
Anything that I don't get, I can get an answer for you guys really quick and shoot an informational only email to you guys to answer those. You guys just cannot respond to those emails.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of us have, I've talked to Mr. Bridge about this a couple of times. I'm not a fan of this. Council has always been open to ask the administrators, questions, Howie, about roads, and you've all seen it. We've all taken part of it. And when they do their reports, they ask for questions. It's written in there that we're not supposed to, but I have always liked that relationship where we could do that, and I think it makes more work and more confusion and more red tape for you, Mr. Bridge. I think it's going to add a lot more headaches down the road, to be honest. But I also understand that, when they get a question that they feel may be tough to answer in front of a camera or in front of council and the other administrators, I guess I see the reasoning behind it, but I just think it's going to make it for a little bit more confusing and more work that doesn't need to be done, but that's just my 2 cents. So anybody else, any other topics, any questions? Who always wrote 2020 so far on their checkbook this year? So,
Who writes
right.
checks?
well, I don't, but I bet you Mr. Cook writes checks still.
Mr. Cook don't write any checks.
I don't write
This is
checks
Cook.
either.
So, all right. With that being said, I guess we'll
Motion adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Mr. Cobb and second by Mr. Grimm.
All right. Councilman Rodald,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn accepted 7-0.
All right. Everyone have a pleasant evening.
See you all in a couple weeks.
Aye.
Hi.
Mr. Bridge, fix your clock.
What?
Fix your clock.
What's wrong with my clock?
I've been
Oh, that
looking.
thing?
Yeah.
My Lord, no one looks at that thing. That's just there on the wall. Has it been driving you crazy all meeting? Because if it is, I'm going to bring it up closer next meeting so you can see better look at it.